Okay, here we go. And I'm going to trust that it's recording and not flip out this time.
Really?
Yeah, maybe.
Uh-huh.
Maybe.
I don't see the record button, so I.
Oh, stop it. I did. I promise I did. Hello. Hello. Look. Doo-doo.
It looks so cool. So cool.
I blocked it. Good morning. How are you doing today, everybody? Look, I'm warm and cozy because it's cold outside. There was, total aside, I meant to tell you this before we started filming. Too late. Consti had an email about black ice.
Yeah.
I saw that after I came in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't hit any black ice, but I did about 200-300 yards from leaving, turning from East Fork onto 276.
Yeah.
Flashing lights. Car in the ditch. Like, I could see the underside of it.
We were running a little late today. We were expecting to get in a lot earlier than we did, which I think was a good thing, ultimately, because all of Transylvania County was on a 2-hour delay for schools.
Were they?
Yeah.
I missed that.
Like, I kept running into school buses. Not like literally running into school buses. But
boom!
Yeah.
Well, my exit from Conisty is right by a fire station. So those guys were already on the scene, but I'm thinking it just happened because they were just on the scene. Like, they had guys out to direct traffic, but only just like they were turning on their little mini lightsaber batons and stuff as I went by. And all of us who went by were like, maybe we should slow down on the way into town.
Nobody on 64 was going slow.
Yeah, well, it's 64.
And it's not a flat straight shot, but as close to a flat straight shot as you get around here. And
I'm playing around their microphone. We're gonna see if that changes anything. Yeah, what?
Yeah, not a flat straight shot, but as close to a flat straight shot as you get.
There's very few flat straight shots around here.
Yeah, and so we should actually.
I'm getting there.
Oh,
we're getting there. For people who know the area, you know what we're talking about. For people who don't, live vicariously through us. I hit no ice on my way in, but I did slow down a little just to be on the safe side. So we are starting to film a little after 9 because we had other things to do before that. Anyway, I'm Rebecca. This is what Liz was trying to make me do. We spend too much time together. I'm Rebecca. I'm the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber. In chilly but warming up and maybe icy, but shouldn't be later today, Brevard, North Carolina.
I'm Liz. I'm the minion there. And welcome to the Sun Dragon Sideshow, the adventures of Liz and Rebecca.
Where I made an oath when I started this show not to squirrel about non-knitting things, and I've broken that almost every episode. I try. I will say so. Here's my furthering on squirreling on non-knitting things, just to get out of my system. I grew up in New England. Just put that out there. Used to snow. We got snow Friday. We did not get as much as we thought. If you all were watching us, the last time you heard us talk about snow and everything,
we were supposed to get 4 to 6 or 7 inches.
At least, I mean, it'd been downscaled, but downtown Brevard got like nothing. Maybe sticking to the grass and stuff, but not really the streets.
I think my front got before it all started to compact.
Yeah, because it was wet.
Yeah, I got like 3 inches of snow.
Yeah, we might have gotten 3 to 4, and it compacted, and plows went by a bunch, but like we didn't even I tried the North Carolina way of doing things,
which unfortunately
and it didn't work. But but I had to have a conversation with Brian about this. It's like he thought when okay, let me explain. It's too much. Let me sum up. No, I'm kidding. No, the North Carolina, what I jokingly call the North Carolina way of doing things, at least for around here, is wait for it to warm up and melt. Like usually I'm like out in the middle of a snowstorm or at least at the end of it to clear off my car.
The caveat with that is the sun has to shine on the spot you want to melt.
That was the kicker. And here's the thing. So, but I was like, okay, it's Friday. I don't have to leave until Tuesday. So it's gotta, like, again, North Carolina thing. It's got to warm up enough to melt the little snow we got. Again, compacted. That should have been the key word.
If there's even in the slightest bit of shade, like there's still snow in my backyard, in the spot that the house always shades.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's still snow up where I live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's shade,
here's the thing.
Won't.
Like, I'm gonna do this because I took a walk with Brian, and he said he didn't think that was a southern thing. He thought that might have been a city versus rural thing. He's like, well, isn't that maybe more of a rural thing to let it melt and stuff? And I'm like, and maybe because you grew up in and I'm like, first of all, I didn't grow up in the city, suburbs, somewhere in the middle. But he thought the whole get everything cleared off was just a city thing when you're plowed in or something. And I'm like, honey, if you waited for things to melt, you'd be waiting until spring.
And up north,
yeah,
like in places I've lived, we've gotten a foot to 3 feet of snow.
It's not a hey, we don't have to go anywhere because we live in the sticks, so let's let it melt. No.
You
don't get warm enough temperatures.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the sun could melt a little, but you go take care of business.
There are times that if I wasn't leaving the house, I wouldn't go clean my car off because I'm not leaving the house.
Yeah, but
it does make it more difficult to clean the car off once it turns ice.
That's what I'm talking about. Is like if you live in a snowy climate, like a genuine snowy climate, like up in the northern area of the U.S., other places, like you get business done before it becomes a hard shell that you can't crack through anymore without also breaking your windows, that kind of thing. And so I was like, well, I've got 4 days. Let's try this. I went out yesterday before the sun went down, or as the sun was going down, to finish clearing what was left of the snow on my windshield off so it wouldn't freeze overnight and I would have trouble getting in here today. I was like, this is ridiculous.
Was your windshield in the sun or in the shade?
The way I park my car, it never sees the light of day because we have a lot of trees around our property and the sun comes mostly this way. So it blinds me. If anyone's ever seen me at a sit and stitch during the day, if I'm on my bed in the bedroom, the sun's coming in that way. So like the heated sun is going to hit from this direction and my car is facing this direction and the house is here. So when the sun comes up,
the house is
shading it. And when the sun goes down, it's hitting the back end of my car. Back end of my car was great. Actually, the whole top of my car still had snow on it. And I cleared that off because, again, a northerner thing versus an around here thing. I got my pet peeve hat on when I saw people driving around.
People driving on the top of their cars off and then hits the windshield in the car behind you. It's actually a safety hazard.
It is.
Technically,
people are like,
it's
going to be fine. I did clean all that off, but no. But
like, it's like turning on your windshield or your lights when your windshield wipers are on.
Well, and even that doesn't happen around here either. I mean, that doesn't happen everywhere. There are people who do dumb things like that everywhere. So I cleaned off the little like soggy inch that was still left on my car after 4 days. And top of my car, I have a Scion XB. So the top of my car is flat and I did my best to get that off. There were little chunks left on top of my car, which flew off today on the way into town, but they're small enough, hopefully they wouldn't hurt anybody. And this morning, and then I'll be done with my rant and we'll actually talk about knitting. The other thing, I had this conversation with Brian a day or two ago. When do you have to leave the house? Same as me. Maybe he doesn't even have to leave today. Because I was like, because at some point we should deal with the snow that the plows deposited at the end of our driveway. We didn't have to shovel our driveway. That did melt away. That's great. There were lumps at the end of our driveway. Even this morning, there was one lump about this big. That was the only lump left. But it was like right in the middle of where our driveway hits the street. And I'm like, I could just back over it. But I back out at a steep angle. And there's already enough complications with that. And it's hard to see the corner of oncoming traffic. And I was like, I don't want to deal with that. So like I marched out with my shovel and went, whoop, and then got in my car. That was my morning. I think I'm done with my digression. So This is our Monday. Hi. How was everybody's weekend? I know your weekend might have ended a day ago, but ours didn't. So, yeah.
It's okay. I had time to finish a project. You
Yes.
had time to block a project.
Yes.
I started another project.
I have all this little bit, maybe bigger than a little bit progress on various things. So, luckily, we still have some time left to talk about these things. So, why don't you go first?
Okay.
Oh, wait, or you're not a good stopper.
I can stop whenever. I'm in the middle of a 5-row. It's not a problem.
If you're in the middle of a 5-row, then you stop.
It's not a problem. If
Even
even
if
if I was in the
short row,
I've done
double
that,
row.
and I'm kind of okay with that too.
Okay.
I mean, how many
This is gorgeous. We
Papillons
gotta do this.
in?
Okay, ready? Should we get up?
We should stand up.
So what I think is amazing about this, isn't this the most recent one you
This
started?
is the most recent one I started, and
Oh, it's heavy.
oh yeah, I hand spun all the main color.
Ta-da! Oh my gosh, it's so gorgeous. And you won at Yarn Chicken.
And I won at Yarn Chicken, and
I think that's what we last talked about.
yeah, I think I would
So
not
pretty.
have won at Yarn Chicken if
If?
I had not reversed it for these. If I had made, I reversed it just for those final pods. If I had, or not final pods, but the eyes. If I had not reversed it, I don't think I would have won it.
It looks amazing though. That looks so cool. I like the reversal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty. I mean, the screen doesn't do it justice. So
It's so soft.
yeah.
Like,
and people are always like, oh my God, it's ginormous. It's also when we hold it and stretch it and the weight pulls on it, it looks 10 times bigger than when it's wrapped around you.
Yeah.
So, but it's a really good size for you.
it's size 9 needles.
And I'm dying.
And I spun, it went from like sport to chunky because I can't spin consistently. But
that's what we call art yarn.
it's just so cuddly and warm. So I'll
And it
be
goes
taking
with
that.
what you're wearing.
I know I planned it.
It's the whole when people come in and they pick stuff out and I say, hey, that matches what you're wearing. And it's usually because it's colors they like. So, next, oh, don't sit down. Oh, well,
Oh.
you could.
Wait.
You probably don't need. Okay, so if we want to show this off long ways with like where you could see basically all the colors, hey, can you scoot this way a little bit? I'm gonna scoot this way. Just like, oh, there we go.
Why are we scooting this way?
Because the microphone is like the tip is now not where the microphone is.
Never mind.
But I could go like this. So this is my night shift.
And it shifts.
Yeah, it's got 6 different. I'm like, I don't have six things on this hand. It has 6 skeins of Feederbrook, which is this stuff right behind me. Feederbrook Entropy DK in it. I used as much as I possibly could. There was still some left. This green part here is about where the real pattern stops, and I kept going. Okay, I can grab back. But
Which is what I think most of us have done
mhm.
with our
You
night
can keep
shifts.
going and experiment and use up the yarn and have a blanket. Essentially have a blanket. I was showing Liz earlier, like, okay, if that's touching the ground, this is almost as tall as me. Blocked. I can't remember. Go back and look at the last episode where I said I finished this. I think that was a week ago. And we had a knitter who was like, well, why block it? It helps the pattern show. See, the top curls a little bit when I hold it up like this, but not half as much. Like what's up near my face is the bind off. And it was mad curling. You couldn't even see it. If you go on my Instagram feed, you can see pictures of it blocking. I was a little late to work today because I had to unpin it and my cat was sitting on this end.
What?
So no matter what, I had to take pins out near him and he was not happy about that. But it's just,
It is
all the colors changing
absolutely
in
awesome.
there is so much fun. Okay, I'm gonna come back in. And I like to wear it. So for people who are like, well, how do I wear a triangle shawl? And this is an asymmetrical triangle shawl. So it started down here and got bigger by 1 stitch every other row, instead of a symmetrical one that starts in the center and goes out like the butterfly. But find your point, your short point of the triangle, like this is the long edge, right? The point hangs down. If you want to wear it in front, this is the most classic way to do it. The long end goes up at your neck. The point's at the bottom. And then you can get it as shoved around your neck as you want. You can adjust it as you want.
I like that it's super,
Keeps my neck warm. We had someone ask, what's the point of a cowl who doesn't live in cold climates? And it actually does, it's a fashion statement, but it actually does keep your neck warm. Now you can see, okay, here's that green I said was where the original pattern ended. So if I'd only done it to the original pattern, it would not come down as long. It'd be shorter. It's about when you put it around your neck, it's about the same size as the shift, which is the cowl version of this. The triangle cowl version, the idea is you don't have to do that wraparound thing I just did. You just throw it on and it looks like you did this. And it takes less yarn and you throw it on and go instead of wrapping it around and hoping the ends don't come flying off. But the other way, the comfy, cozy way to wear a shawl is put it down the opposite way and have the point hanging down in the back and wrap it around your shoulders.
That's how I like it.
This is how Liz wears it. You can always put a shawl pin here to keep it closed. I used to run into the issue that when I was teaching classes, it would flop around as I was leaning over and helping people and it was in the way. Or you can go like this. But the asymmetrical ones kind of, you don't have enough length here to do that. Liz's maybe, because it's the symmetrical. But this shows off the pattern.
Oh yeah.
See those colors, they're gorgeous. It's just, this is not the way I'm comfortable wearing it so much. But it does look pretty cool.
But sitting on the couch and needing something over your shoulders or,
I could try. Because in my chunky sweater and this, I was dying. So I took the chunky sweater off because I'd rather show this off. So maybe I'll do this for a little bit. But as I'm showing off other patterns, this is going to start to make me feel weird.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll just go back to how I like to wear it. Maybe. So what are you working on now?
I am doing the increase number 5 row on my red and black Papillon because I over our vacation, I was switching back and forth. I do 1 row on that one and 1 row on that one and 1 row and back and forth. And I felt that I was never going to finish either. So this past weekend, I stopped both of them and just focused on one of them.
And that worked? That helped?
Yeah, like I was so close to be like, I'm on row 18 on this. So, or not 18, 28. Sorry.
Almost done.
So, and then on Thursday, I had bogarted yarn.
Our Friday, because we had a snow day.
Yeah. I bogarted yarn to start my cape. So Friday night, I started my cape. And
oh my gosh, it's so pretty.
I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 panels.
Look at that. Faux fur. The knitting fever for real. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty.
And
it's so pretty.
Measured, it'll be collar, it'll come all the way down.
Oh, it'd be so elegant. That'd be wonderful.
So it will keep my elbows and wrists warm. The other one, as written, I did the pattern completely as written. It comes to just above my elbow. So
which is cute
and perfect for most life. But Thursday, I wore my gauntlets and I wore my cape and I had a shirt that stopped above my elbows and then had lace. And my elbows were cold. So I was like, I need to ensure. So I played with numbers.
You mathed? What?
No. I played with numbers.
No, that goes back to you don't use math, you stumble on it.
I stumble across it.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah.
You know. I love it.
So some of the numbers changed, some of them didn't, because I didn't want the collar to be way bigger
Yeah. You weren't just going to exponentially make everything bigger.
Yeah. And I'm doing it on bigger needles, so.
But she does know some math because she figured that out.
I stumbled across it. Let's be
You went,
honest. It was like,
oh,
math. What?
Look what I found when I was down there.
Exactly. That was exactly how it went.
Okay. Oh, I love it. What?
I did make another big shawl thing for Bernie. Not shawl, scarf.
I was like,
I did panther colors in a scarf. And when I got done with it, he was sitting out in front of the new fire stove thing in a t-shirt because the living room was like 70 degrees.
Oh my gosh, that's an inferno for you guys.
I know. It'd have been 58
that is just
before
right
the
for
stove.
me. That's like approaching normal for me. But yeah.
So I went out and I put it on. He goes, "Oh, please don't put it on me." And I put it on him and he was like, "Ah."
It reminds me, I want to say it was pre-pandemic. There was a time when, I can't remember if this is the winter or the summer, where something was broken at your house, or like he came in for part of the day and got spoiled because the temperature was better here than it better.
He came in to learn knitting.
Oh, that's what it was. It wasn't because something was broken at home. Yeah, and he got spoiled
because there was heat in the shop.
Oh man! And
he sat.
It's cold here.
It was before all the lockdowns. It was early.
It was like about last year this time. Yeah.
And he came in to learn to knit so that he would have something to do, which he hasn't touched. He had a garden all summer long.
Brian has what he calls his napkin that he learned like 3 marches ago, and it's this long. But he tried. That's the point.
So anyway, but he came and sat in a comfy chair all day, and because I was like, if I bring you in, I'm not taking you home as soon as you get done. So he wandered around town. He'd come in and hang out, and it spoiled him because the temperature in here is like 72.
Anyway, wait, in the winter? No, it's like 68.
68.
But it feels a lot warmer here because 68 is still really warm for them.
If you climb a ladder, it's like
oh god, yeah. If you have to hang stuff on top of the pretty wall, it's much hotter, about 2 or 3 feet higher because there's, what are the ceilings in here, like 20 feet?
Oh, probably
or so. Yeah. But it all collects up there because the vent's up there.
So
poor air circulation. That's why we limit people in the shop. Anyway, no, going back to what you were saying about the working on both Papillons versus just focusing on one. That's the whole debate of progress versus process. Are you a progress knitter or a process knitter? Like, do you like to have a bunch of things going at once? Or do you like to do one project at a time? Shout out to Shia.
I didn't mind going back and forth between the two up until like row 28.
Then they were really long.
I mean, right? It takes just a straight row takes 15-20 minutes. I think it used to take like 45. I must have gotten faster. I don't know, but I can sit there and anyway. So
I've gotten faster too. I think we've all gotten a little faster during the pandemic. Those of us who sit in it.
But the short rows and everything going the back and forth, all the way across takes so long. It felt like it took me like 2 hours. And then I'd flip over to the next Papillon, and that took 2 hours. So it felt like I was just pouring an entire day into one row.
Pouring your soul into the Papillon.
And I was like, I can knock it out in a day and a half.
Yeah.
Once I get to, a certain point. But, I'm on row 28 because we're back at work. I will not have this done.
Slows down a lot.
Until Tuesday.
Because believe it or not, running a knit shop doesn't mean sitting around and knitting all day.
It's a myth. It is a perpetual myth that
it's a fairy tale.
Mostly non-knitters or crocheters keep spreading.
Yeah.
Like little old people knit and you can knit in a yarn shop.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, there are actually quite a few age groups and
all ages
everybody knits or crochets or yarns
and there's always things to do in a yarn shop.
Oh my gosh.
that are
It's
not
like
needed.
working retail at any other retail store.
With a whole lot of things to organize. Oh man, which we're nowhere near as organized as we need to be right now, but life, you know.
Yeah.
But no, the process versus progress. I did like over break to hunker down on my calliope and just get it done rather than spreading my time through all these different things. So that worked because I got it done. There were some times when I almost lost the will to live. And the same thing's going on now with the projects I'm working on is the ones I'm spreading my attention amongst are not going as fast necessarily, but there's a little bit of progress. In the end, I might get them all done.
In your shawls, you tend to do asymmetrical.
Yeah, and they get longer, and well, that's what's.
I mean, even triangles.
That's what's written, you know. But like I can connect this to what you're saying about it taking longer to get across yours. Like I did this for my morning meditation. This is still the bottom edge of the honey moss. I've been obsessed with my sweaters lately. I'm going to show you those in a second. So I figured I should, because I haven't made a huge amount of progress on them and I showed them off multiple times in my morning meditations. I should go back to my old favorites like this. Call this an old favorite. It's like a month old, maybe 2. It's still March.
It's still March.
And when it becomes March again, it's going to be like, see, that was a long March. But the honey moss has cable at the bottom, this honeycomb cable, and then lace at the top. I'm still nowhere near the lace part. I have not counted how many stitches are up here. I think I'm over 100, but I'm somewhere over 100, but I need to get 170 or so. But when I filmed this morning, I did a purl row and then I did the cable row. The purl row for this width took me 3 minutes. The cable row for this width, which cabling every 4 stitches, a 2x2 cross, took me 10 minutes. So yeah. Whereas knitting usually goes faster than purling. Like if I filmed again, my next row would just be a straight knit row. I'm sure it would be 3 minutes or under, but cabling is a whole nother thing. Like when I cut it down to a minute to show you guys, in a minute, I think I got through maybe 3 cable passes, which is a total of, maybe it's 4, I don't know, but we're talking 12 to 16 stitches in a minute, which is not fast for me. That's another little aside I'm going to do before I move on. Because I've had people go, oh my gosh, you're so fast. I need to practice more. It's like, I would back off that. I would say everybody knits at their own pace. And it's not, well, I'm a slow knitter or I'm a fast knitter or I mean, you can use those terms, but it's really, you should knit at the pace or crochet at the pace you're comfortable at. It shouldn't be a competition or it shouldn't be I haven't gotten there yet, so I'm a failure, you know. Like,
there comes a point where if you're working on speed knitting,
which I guess is a thing,
chance that mistakes are going to happen. You're just going to get to your mistakes faster.
You rush a miracle, man, you get rotten miracles. That's my phrase.
It's you know, when you're trying to be faster, then, you know, we both, one of our knitters has said, because she's knit more over the pandemic. I was going to say, shout out to Cheryl. Shout out to Cheryl. She's gotten faster just through sheer repetition. Yeah. Like, just learn by doing. She didn't like start out at the beginning of the year going, I'm going to knit fast. I must knit faster. It just, your muscle memory kicks in and your muscles go, oh, I can do this quicker. And, you know, it's like, I mean, there's so many things I find in knit and crochet that are like a microcosm of life. And it's, if you force it, you might succeed, but you also might stumble more because you're forcing it. You know, it's a let it come with time. You know, or, you know, if you really want to engage with it, know the struggle you are engaging in. You know, be realistic. Life happens. Yeah. So when we talk about finishing projects in whatever time, so people ask how long is it going to take me to do blah? Yeah, there is no answer. Like, I finished this Papillon. I tell everybody it takes me about 4 weeks to do a Papillon. This one I did in about 3 weeks, but I was alternating with this, and we had a snow day and we had a vacation. Normally with life going on, because you have to eat, you have to sleep, you have to go to the bathroom.
And sometimes other stuff happens. Yeah, there's work. Sometimes there's feeling family feeling bogged down because emotional things are happening in your life. I mean, depression from COVID, like not from either having COVID or the whole situation we find ourselves in. I've seen on a lot of the knitting forums people who weren't able to pick up their needles for months. And that's okay. You know, there's no judgment in that. It's like, maybe you didn't want to, maybe you're upset because you wanted to, because maybe it would have helped, but maybe not. Sometimes doing stuff can stress you out more. You got to kind of listen to your body and mind, I find. And sometimes it's hard to listen to that. Let me tell you. So, you know,
it's pace yourselves. Don't, if you stay up all night trying to knit fast, there's a good chance you're gonna have to rip it out tomorrow morning.
You're gonna wake up in the morning and go, what the heck did I do? We've told the story before of a knitter who knit in the hospital while she was on drugs. And then she came to us and went, what did I do? I don't even know where to start with this. I did something crazy. And we had to piece it out. It was probably very soothing for her to have that with her. What I would recommend is have a to-go bag for life's emergencies like that. Like if you end up in the hospital and can actually physically pick things up, or if you're waiting for something, have a to-go bag that is mindless.
We're talking garter.
Like no thinking involved, like not a papillon, even though you've got some of that down, like something that is just garter or just stockinette or something that you don't have to think.
Even with, I've done 10 finished papillons, I don't know. And even with all that I've done, and I can put it down middle of a short row and pick it back up and kind of know where I am. If I'm tired, if I'm like my mind's wrapped on other things,
and anyway,
I drop
distracted.
Stitches late at night because I've got to finish this row before midnight because I have to show it off tomorrow. And
that's not a thing.
Not a thing.
Oh my gosh.
I've dropped stitches. I've been talking and not paying attention, and
I've been on knit night where I'm supposed to be doing like knit 2 purl 2 or do some kind of rib pattern, and if I get going and talking to people, I'm suddenly just knitting.
There's been times on here where I'm like, okay, I've got to knit to this color stitch marker, and you and I get talking, and the next thing I know, I'm 50 stitches past that stitch marker.
This is why I don't knit on the show. This is why, I'd love to have both of us sitting here going, hey, and we've done that maybe twice. But this is why, because I would probably say bad words on air, because I'd look down and be like, poop, because as much as I think you all would love to see both of us knitting, you just watch my meditations and the full videos. Let me know if you like the full videos I've started posting from
that and she talks with hands. So
no, I don't.
No,
Never. All right. So
why is Rebecca quiet today? Because she's knitting.
You all have seen that when we do the Saturday stuff. I'm doing sit and stitch, but I'm also trying to kind of keep conversation going or talk about products or product placement. It's my show. And although we did have one person who said I seemed less anxious on the Saturday thing, so I don't know.
You seem less anxious because your hands are busy, but you're less talkative because your hands are busy.
This is part of my language.
It's a catch-25, which is more serious than a catch-22.
Oh boy. Well, let me before we go, let me show off all the sweaters that I've been making.
Yes, because you have been sweaters.
I'm obsessed with some of them. The one that's gotten the least amount of love, and I realized I made some progress on some crochet, and I think I left it at home. Oops. Because I've discovered I have so many projects going, I can't slug them all back and forth between home and work. And as much as I want them to be at work so I can show them off to customers of this is how this knits up and this is how this knits up, I work on them at home because we don't have time to knit in the knit shop. And I already look like a bag lady coming into work. So
we both do.
Okay, so my Ready Set Raglan, I'm doing a version of what's on the cover, but I'm doing the version that is, let's see if I can find it in here. Talk amongst yourselves. No. I'm doing the version that is in here with a tighter, like not the fluffy stuff, with a tighter spin and 2 colors. And we talked before, I'm probably not going to have the color separation be at the sleeves because that would be right across my girls. I don't want to accentuate my girls. I want to give it a fake Empire waist look thing, which is funny because I don't think I have any waist in here. But here I got it on a larger needle at least. I'm trying to look for, there's the front. So this is my sweater so far.
And you'll pick up stitches for your collar?
I will, yeah. I'm gonna go back and put the collar on later. But you can see my raglan. It's a 2x2 rib. And I decided once I got a few inches into it to rip it all out and do the first purl of the 2 pearls through the back loop to tighten it up a little because I didn't like how it was kind of leaning and stretching, which could throw my gauge off. I'll try to block it out. But this is the top of my sweater.
It looks really good.
I'm at like 220 stitches maybe, and I need to get up to about, I've lost track of what size I'm making, which is funny.
It's not a thing.
I think I'm going to do the size that has a 50-inch bust. I think most of the sweaters right now I'm settling into a 50-inch bust. We talked on Thursday about positive ease. That over my bra, like my girls when they're locked and loaded, gives me about a 5-inch positive ease.
Which is enough to fit comfortably, put a shirt on underneath of it.
I mean, it might be kind of loose, but yeah, the shirt underneath. I've said before that I have the issue of the girls are much bigger than the rest of me. Well, than my shoulders. Let's put it that way. But I also don't want it clinging to either the girls because then they'll look bigger, or to my little muffin toppy, whatever you want to call it, middle-aged thing going on. Because who has time to exercise when you run a yarn shop? I should.
Not a thing.
I went for a hike and rolled my ankle on the leg that I broke right before opening the shop. So I think I got some issues there anyway that makes it a little harder to exercise, and I don't have time to go to a physical therapist. Thank you for the suggestion. And someone will tell me I need to make time. We're going to move back from that little... I digress. So okay, I made a little bit of progress on this, and it was fun to get back to knitting that. I feel like in order of where I started it, it's backwards in terms of how much progress I've made, because that's one of my latest.
Not the newest, because you started.
The sorrel is the one that's older than this, and I have made good progress on that, but that is at home because I'm working on the other ones, because I'm losing the will to live on the sorrel because the fun part's over. But I will finish that because it's going to be gorgeous. All right, the other ones have their own project bag, and this one has some fur keeping it in place. But where's the pattern for this? Ooh. I was going to show off the pattern. I think I left the pattern at home. This is going to be the Golden Fern, which is a Jennifer Steingass. My Winter Shawl that you've seen me wear before is a Jennifer Steingass. She writes wonderful patterns. I'm blanking on names now, but Pat, shout out to Pat. She just finished, I'm forgetting the name, but it's Jennifer Steingass that has the really symmetrical, like geometric ferns that makes it look not like your classic, like they go this way and they're all staggered. And she used this color for the body. I'll try to remember and put it in the comments once I remember. She used the burnished for the body, and she used 2 different colors for the ferns that are jagging off in like up down directions around the top, and it looks gorgeous. I saw that and went, that would be cool because it's different. But then I saw this one. This is the golden fern. And I said, this is going to be even more different because it's a top down. So, looks like I'm at
Yay,
almost,
top down.
it's again, another top down. Collar's already incorporated, so don't have to go back and do it. The color work, there is color work because Jennifer Steingass is awesome at that. But the color work is at the bottom. And she actually has a fade going through it, which I don't know. Ain't nobody got time for that, in my opinion. If you want to, that's awesome. I'm going to use one color for the bottom color work. But what I think is really cool about this, I don't have fun color work to show off yet. I'm using Fiber Space Vivacious 4-ply in Spiced Plum and Burnished. I've got all the stuff up here of the shaping that's keeping me interested. And then once I break off the sleeves and head into the body is like on the sorrel is when I lose the will to live. But a few inches into that is when you start the color work. So it gives you something to like keep you going and go, yay.
I have to break in here for a second. Not that we're opposed to pieced sweaters.
Oh, not at all.
Everybody has, we do a lot of top-down raglan because we find them easiest and we don't like seaming. But there's
I'll do it.
It's like toe up versus cuff down socks.
Doing stuff
So,
on double points versus, doing stuff in magic loop or two circulars
and you wear a lot of older sweaters that were all piece.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And piece means like front, back, two sleeves, and sewing like the seams on a t-shirt, right? And it provides
Sorry,
a different
I just
structure. That's okay.
I was like, we're like, yay, raglan, and I was like, wait,
yeah.
it's not that they're wrong or
No,
worse.
and the shaping is different. There's set-in sleeves, which feel a lot like a t-shirt or a shirt type construction, and there's drop sleeves where it's a big box and the sleeve starts down here. And there's raglan where it starts up here, and there's either a straight increase right there, or the all over. This is all over increases where it gently slopes out. The next one I'm going to show you is also all over increases, and they hang different on people's bodies. And some people, like I've had people come to the shop who say, I know I need the structure and I need my shoulders seams right here, like it fits them better. So some of the experimenting with making sweaters is some of it is ease of construction, and some of it is what fits your body better. And sometimes the ease of construction of a top down also has the knitting in the round thing. It's like when I tell people, they're like, I want to make a hat. I'm a beginning knitter and I want to make a hat. And if you make a hat in a circle with knitting, when you get up here, and it gets too small to fit on your circular needles, you need to switch to another method of finishing that hat. And there's double points and magic loop and two circulars. And before I get into that, I say, okay, they all have some level of awkwardness or complication. And it's up to you to figure out and then decide on which one is the least awkward for you. Which one do you like best? It's the same thing with the sweater. It's the way that you make it, you need to experiment and find out which one fits your body best and which one is the least awkward for you. So, because some people doing it flat and seaming it, that's great because it's least awkward because they don't mind seaming. And some people hate seaming and they don't mind going on circular needles where things would get jammed up or stretched out or, there's other factors to take into consideration.
My first official sweater that I started was a pieced sweater. It's never been finished. And part of that is because it's flat, there's a lot of purling. And I
there's
like that.
There's garter in the raglan book, but since it's raglan in the round, that means purling.
Yes, and
unless you do the short row thing.
Yeah.
There's ways.
There's ways to get around it, but I prefer in the round because there's less. There are some sweaters you have to do a little bit of purling, but there's less.
There is with short row shaping and things like that to rise the back up and then let the front come down. Like in the striped sweater. So this is the striped sweater from Andrea Mowry. She did this too. I was saying, because there's a Hug Hug Kiss Kiss just came out. I've seen a bunch of other sweaters. She's been like a publishing ninja lately. Like the pandemic let her or forced her to like sit down and crank stuff out. So there's all kinds of new Andrea Mowry patterns at this point, and I don't have time for all of them. So we might make kits for them, but you're not going to see a sample in the shop for all. So, but the striped sweater, I've been wanting to do this for a while. So I finally buckled down while I was researching for other sweaters. I started this just before the Golden Fern, but I was like, I really should start this instead of getting distracted by 6 other sweaters, just the Golden Fern. And then I got a little addicted because it's sport weight, really light sport weight, basically almost fingering weight. But the gauge, I'm on a 7 to get gauge.
It looks.
Else.
Oh my gosh.
And this is one of the kits that I actually have to relist because someone bought one and I need to. We have more, but I just have to relist.
Described it as a cloud of fluffy, yummy goodness, and it looks like a cloud of fluffy, yummy goodness.
This is an alpaca. The yarn I'm using is an alpaca, and stuck on itself. Oh, that's what it's stuck on. Okay, it's an alpaca and merino blend. It's Plymouth Hearthstone. And I tried it on. You can see the picture right before I separated the sleeves. I tried it on, and the neck is pretty good. She has different options for the neck. I picked the one that is kind of relaxed, but not as relaxed as like my Jennifer Stein Gas Venturesole. But look at this. Oh my gosh. It's so pretty. The sleeves are separated at this point because I just kept knitting. I'm like, ooh, 2 more rows and I can switch yarn. And I kept going. I have this much from my sleeve. So I have maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches. I have to go for forever. So it's going to be a while, but it's keeping me entertained.
I really, really, oh my gosh.
It's fluffy and
Pictures
light. Look at
in
that.
The camera just do not do it justice.
But look, it's going to be warm, but not heavy. Like this is warm and kind of heavy. And I love that too. But this is just going to be, I'm so excited by this. So I want to just work on this. I want to pull a Shia on this, but I also have a lot of other things I don't want to leave hanging. So the struggle is real. But this is my favorite right now in terms of if I had a choice of what to pick up and knit, it would probably be this because, oh my gosh, it's so soft.
I have to touch it.
I have to relist. You're okay. Yes. Almost fingering weight on a 7.
It's like butter.
I'm knitting this on the same needle that I'm knitting this on. And they're both going to be wonderful. This one's going to be soft, but it's going to be a lot thicker. It's going to be a lot thicker. And it's great.
Well, and the yarn for the other one, the blue one is worsted. And the yarn for that is sport with fingering length.
But, and it's like when I'm knitting it, I can see through it. But we don't have the right lighting in here. I can kind of, it's backlit. I can see through it, but it's not going to be like a see-through sweater. And I'm probably going to have a t-shirt or something on underneath it. Let's be real. So it's okay that it breathes. It's going to be, I'm so excited. So excited. Yeah. So I have a lot of shawls I need to work on. I have cowls. I have other things. But at this point, now that my Christmas knitting is over, I think I'm going to be pounding out the sweaters. It's weird to say that because like I haven't knit that many. Well, I was about to say I haven't knit that many sweaters.
That's like me saying I haven't knit that many Papillons.
Pre-pandemic.
You really had.
Pre-pandemic, I'm looking up at where we've put up some of the ones. Like all of these I'm wearing enough that they rotate and they go home and they come back. They're not hanging up there. But pre-pandemic, I can look up and see 2 sweaters that I had made before the pandemic started for the shop. I feel like
there's the blue and the teal and the peach.
Yeah. There was the peach one that, out of the sugar bush bowl that I made before the shop even opened 3 years ago, more than 3 years ago now. And the Bridge of the Gods short sleeve one. Oh no, there's technically, I guess that's a sweater.
Yeah, that one over there. So 3.
And most were short sleeve and stuff. I had old sweaters I was wearing maybe. And then let's see, 1, 2, the Calliopes 3.
COVID
cardigans 4. This one's 5. I finished 5 during the pandemic. That's crazy because it's March. It's been a really long month. But I finished 5 and I have about 5 more on needles. And I want to just keep making them and keep making kits for you guys all so that you have inspiration of things to make. And believe it or not, like if you're like, oh, a sweater's too much work. I feel like the shawls are too much work right now. I'd rather be making the sweaters because the sweaters have once you get big enough that you have a consistent number of stitches you're going around, where the shawls keep getting longer and I lose the will to live. There's reasons to lose the will to live on each of them, but they're amazing.
And everybody has their own everybody has their own breaking point for losing the will to live.
And everybody has their own thing that they like to do. So I'm loving sweaters right now. For a hot minute, I was loving socks. And I still love socks, but I want to get these sweaters done while it's still winter. So we'll see. I have fingerless gloves I really need to get done so I have something to wear in the winter because my store-bought gloves are failing me or getting lost. So, you know, I have too many things to work on and not enough time. Said no knitter ever. Okay, we got to go. It's 10.
Is it really?
Yes. I've been watching over your shoulder the time. Yeah. So we need to go because I was talking about too many of the things I'm working on. I guess I'll try to bring in the crochet stuff I'm working on for maybe Thursday if I remember. Okay. We'll see. But yeah, let us know what you want us to talk about. Send us a Dear Becky and Lizzy. That's a
we
Thursday.
have one on felting.
Okay.
Somebody sent a
mail us letters for Dear Becky and Lizzy for our advice Thursdays at Dear Becky and Lizzy, Sundragon Art and Fiber. I almost said .com because I'm so used to saying that. 35 South Broad Street, Brevard, North Carolina, 28712.
Or email me, Liz at sundragonartandfiber.com.
Yes. And if you have non-Dear Becky and Lizzy things, email me, Rebecca at sundragonartandfiber.com. That's where the .com comes from. I was just remembering there's supposed to be something, if you look in one direction, you're lying, supposedly, you might be lying, and you look in the other direction, you're telling the truth. I looked straight up when I was trying to remember the address to the shop, so I don't know. I couldn't test that theory for you. Okay, so tomorrow is the VSC, most dangerous day of the week. We have no idea what we're showing y'all. While a lot of stuff is online, a lot of stuff is not online, and I don't know what we want to get up next. There's some basics that aren't there yet. We'll see. And then we have knit night tonight. I'm doing this all out of order. We're not going through the week in order. I'm going through different things that happen and the days they happen, and you just have to keep track. Tonight is virtual sit and stitch, 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Go on Zoom and use our shop phone number. You also can go, I think, online and click links from my social media posts and things. But it's the Zoom code to join is 828-877-3550. And we'll have another one on Friday. Same time, different day. Same code. It's always the shop phone number to join a group sit and stitch.
And as always, if you're watching us, you can join. If you're not watching us and you know a knitter who would like to hang out with other knitters, crocheters, yarn, or just wants to hang out, come hang out with us.
We've had people who are regulars on Knit Night go, hey, do you need an invitation? Like, can my friend join? Of course they can. We have complete strangers who hop on and we're like, hey, tell us about yourself. Or, you know, contribute as much as you want.
Yeah.
If you want to come and say hi and then just sit and listen for the rest of the night, if you want to come and you don't have a project, no one's going to say, hey, hold up your project. And if you don't have a project, get off. It's community. It's not about you have to do X, Y, or Z. It's about community and coming and sharing space and feeling connected to other people, because it's hard to do that in close physical proximity right now. The only rule we have, I was like, the only rule about Fight Club. No, the only real rule we have about sit and stitch is we avoid hot topics. We avoid topics heated. I knew there was something to do with heat. We avoid heated topics, and there's a lot right now. there are other places for that for right now. And so this is a place where we just enjoy each other's company because we come from, I'm fairly certain, all walks of life. And so it's a common space where we love crafting, whether or not we do it, people probably come to it because they love it. And yeah, so we get to share space for 3 hours. I always say about that too, come when you can, leave when you have to. It's not like, oh my gosh, it's 6:30, I can't go because it started at 6.
We've had
It's
people
open-ended.
show up at 8:45.
We've had people
Because
show up and just spend 10
Life
minutes
gets
with us.
crazy and they just want to come and say hi.
As long as I'm paying attention to the weight room, we'll let you in. And don't feel like, well, I don't have 3 hours to spare, I can't do it. You don't have to stay till 9. Like I said, if you want to come for 10 minutes and just say hi and meet us.
And we will be doing another Facebook Live event, not this weekend, the next weekend.
It's where's my phone? I don't know. It's the 20-somethings. Do you have your
I do.
Can you pull up your calendar?
I can.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna find my phone at some point. Oh, there, I found my phone. Did you find your calendar?
I found my calendar. 23rd.
Yes. It's basically, I'm shooting for the second to last Saturday of the month in most cases. That could be the 3rd. In some long months, it might be the 4th. But it's going to be kind of towards the end of the month. They're usually 4 weeks apart. We gave ourselves a little bit of extra time because of the holidays. So yes, the 23rd is our next Saturday afternoon sit and stitch. It's on Facebook and Zoom, and we'll have more details as that gets closer, or you can check it out on Facebook.
So if you just want to get a feel of what a sit and stitch
vibe kind of is, it's a little different on Saturday afternoons than it is on Tuesday and Friday nights, because I'm a little more programmed in that we're Facebook Live with just me and Zoom with everybody. And, you know, it might be kind of boring to just watch my face for 4 hours if there isn't some kind of talking or sharing going on. So I might talk a little more than I would on a sit and stitch night. But, you know, still does give you a feel. All right. We need to open for business, although, you know, it's winter. It's slow. Our first appointment is this afternoon.
I have to go in.
Yes, we have orders to fill. We need to go do that.
Oh,
We miss you all. We love you. Even those of you who we haven't met yet, you are part of the Sun Dragon community because you are watching. So why not subscribe? Our subscription numbers are climbing up a little bit.
Thumbs up, ring the
Thumbs up.
bell, all that fun stuff.
Anything you feel comfortable doing on YouTube to show us support, please do it. It's good for us. It's good for you. Yay. You know. We'll see you tomorrow.
Same bat channel, same bat time.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Tiptoeing, not
Tiptoeing.
tripping.